somebody with no DIY skills at all apparently has managed to pull this off.
That was really why we went for an ambulance. It's spacious and open, and I don't feel claustrophobic at all.
I love it.
What do you think you've spent on the van? This one here, we sold about a year ago to a guy called Chris, who said he had no DIY skills at all. And he's just brought it back it was actually just a service, he MOT'd it himself. And it's quite interesting because he's done quite a nice job on it, to be honest with you. So let's have a quick look at it. This van in particular was one that I did the electrics on, because obviously when we got these vans, they were decommissioned terribly. And so it took me a couple of days to sort the electrics out. And then me and my girlfriend went out and stayed overnight in it. And I made a video on how good they are as they are. And this is what it would have looked like at that time. This is another one that we've got in stock. Believe it or not, we actually bought 40 of these off the South Western Ambulance Service. Really, really well-maintained vans, South Western. And then an opportunity came around to get ambulances that weren't decommissioned, so I decided to then break all of these for parts. So we've got like 40 engines, 40 gearboxes, and everything else to support another project that I'm doing at the minute. It just made more sense, you know, why spend 2 days doing the electrics when we can get them, decommission them ourselves and rewire them perfectly for ambulance use in a couple of hours. So that's why, yeah, most of these vans are no longer. But yeah, check this out. Looks kind of cool. He's kept the yellow. Of course, you can hand roller them, you can paint them. That was indeed an ex-ambulance. And he's gone for the sort of the B look. And he's put on there the black edition. So looks quite good. Got the scene light. We did wire those in for him. Of course, this is a nice capacity van, extra high roof, extra long wheelbase. And it looks kind of mean, doesn't it? He's had the wheels done properly. Of course, all of these ambulances come with Michelin cross climates. Check out what he's done on the inside. No DIY skills. Let's have a look. So when he got this van off us, it was stripped out on the inside. I believe we've made a little section to get through, but it looks like he's taken the whole bulkhead out and he's done quite a nice job of that. Currently got the diesel heater on because it is absolutely freezing today. But yeah, 250,000 miles. That doesn't daunt me at all. Upgraded the head unit, that's kind of cool. And he has installed the captain seats here, just to maximise the space. But yeah, check it out. He's got his bed at the back, little kitchen area here. And it is kind of fancy. Obviously it's got the original double glazed window on the inside. Same on the offside as well. And these of course were the original cupboards. He's just dressed them up with some sticky back plastic by the looks of things, and that's kind of looking kind of groovy. Big fan of the ceiling. It's got the original ambulance LEDs. And this bed area is looking kind of cozy. He's got his power inverter underneath the bed that came with the van. And he's put a plug socket up there. Really impressed with this, Chris. Looks like he's got an induction hob. Sync unit. Very, very nice indeed. He's got his fly net here. I'll quick sip of my lemon drink. Okay. So, just to compare it to how it probably was before, as you can see, those are the cupboards that he's dressed up. This is the battery setup that he's got in his van. He hasn't changed that, which surprises me because these are old lead acid batteries, and you know, lithium nowadays is pretty affordable and essential in my opinion. Let's check out the back of the black edition Fiat Ducato ambulance. Okay, so it's looking pretty busy in the back of here, but plenty of storage space. It's got the original battery charger for the hookup. He's upgraded the inverter to a 3000 watt Renji. He has got the original lead acid batteries. Looks like there's an MPPT over there, so we've got some solar on the roof. Nice big thick mattress, but that's comfortable. And he's dressed these back doors up as well. So yeah, this is looking really good. Let's just go on the roof. Nice big solar panel, looks at least, I would say that's probably about 300 watts. So yeah, that is looking really good, isn't it? Ooh. So yeah, really impressed with that, Chris. Showcasing what you can do to one of these ex-ambulances. And with very little work, you can kind of make them not really look like an ambulance. And I've always been a bit of a fan of keeping the ambulance theme, because I'm pretty weird like that. And this is a nice way of showcasing it, really. Of course, these are galvanized. I believe Chris has gone ahead and undersealed the vehicle as well. That's exactly what that section of the business is for. So yeah, awesome van. You won't see any more of these at basevan.com because we, like I said, we basically dismantled them all to support our latest project, Project Snowflake 2. And this is an example, actually. This is why we get to decommission them. So on the inside, we get to keep all these modules, we're able to reuse them, and they're just fantastic. Essentially, we're able to program what's already there to make it usable for campervan use. It takes us a couple of hours versus, you know, a couple of days. And so when our workshop is at £100 an hour, it's just not economical. So this is your next best alternative, much more affordable. 360-degree camera system. All of this amazing stuff actually comes with these ambulances, but when they get decommissioned, they take them off it. So ever so grateful for the position we're in now, where we get them direct and we're able to decommission them. It just means that we can offer a better product at a lower price. And, you know, with the NHS's net zero and everything else, I don't understand why they're not doing it for every single ambulance on the road. But hey, that's me. So yeah, awesome van. Hopefully I'll catch up with Chris just before he takes it away. And that's what you can do, guys. And somebody with no DIY skills at all, apparently, has managed to pull this off, has been on many vacations away. And, well, him and his partner love it. Chris, what made you decide to go for an ambulance in the first place?
We looked at a few different vans, and the ambulance, it was basically for the service that he'd had for the ambulance services, knowing that, you know, he had genuine parts, and they'd have to look after it for being an ambulance, and I'd get the longevity out of it. So that's why we went for an ambulance, because it'd be looked after, really.
So the primary thing you were looking at before getting a base van was you wanted to get a vehicle that was reliable, not just easy to convert then? Yeah,
it had to be reliable. Conversion, you're gonna get problems anyhow, because if you've never done it before, you're gonna get problems. You just learn as you go. But it was reliability of the van. It was knowing that it was looked after. You know, knowing that sort of the engine parts were genuine and it was looked after. The oil was always changed. Because for this van that's done 250,000 miles, that's very important for me anyhow. Because I don't want to be taking it to the garage every week. I want to go, you know, every 12 months, clear MOT. Make sure my services are done and do some of the service yourself, and that was really why we went for an ambulance.
So before you bought it, was there anything that you were unsure or worried about?
We just didn't know what we wanted. We looked at a few websites, and obviously Base Van come up, and we looked, and we just saw that van, and we just said, that's the one we want when we come. And I think before Robin could even show us around, Rupert show us around, we just wanted it straight away. We wanted it straight away.
And now that you and Naomi have done it, was it easier or harder than you expected?
It was frustrating. Never done anything like it before in my life. The electrics I never touched and I wouldn't touch. We got an auto electrician, but everything else we done ourselves. and it was trial and error. I probably wasted a couple of £100 by not cutting wood straight and that kind of thing, but that was just not having the tools. But then you have to buy the tools. Yeah, so it was relatively straightforward.
So other than the base vehicle that you got from us, what do you think you've spent on the van?
£6.5 grand, £7 grand.
And where did the majority of that money go, do you think?
Plywood and insulation. Everything is made on a frame, so you've obviously got to buy roofing battens and that kind of stuff. You know, just things like the padding and the padding. That's where your money goes, but that's where you get your quality. That's where you get your look from. No.
Would it have been easier to just do a normal panel van and then start from scratch, or did actually getting an ex-ambulance help?
Yeah, because you got a lot more.
No. The ex-ambulance helps. I mean, if you look, the cupboards are still all the same. The ceiling is still the same. The only thing that we changed, really, is the panels around here. This is all original panel. Behind the beds, I took the panels out to insulate because that's obviously where we're sleeping, and the rest of it is all still original.
We did insulate the floor as well, didn't we?
Insulated the floor
as well.
So the floor underneath is still the original floor. The floor's been insulated. Like I say, the cupboards are still all the same. They're only vinyl wrap just to make them look a bit nice, but everything else is just the same. So we had a starting point where we didn't have to take everything out as an empty shell, because that would have been pointless, because the ambulance is already insulated, so it would have been pointless.
What's it actually like using it?
Using the van is absolutely perfect. The main thing for me was sleeping, was being comfortable. I sleep across the back against the back doors, and I've got enough room of about 3 or 4 inches for my feet, and I'm comfortable. It's a double-sized bed, so, and you know, we can have the back doors open when we want to sleep and that, and it's just absolutely perfect. Got a kitchen here. Sometimes we cook out on gas. We've got a sink.
And a
Toilet if we needed the toilet. The only thing we didn't put a shower in, because that would have just took up room, and most campsites you go to, a shower's are there, and you can have a baby wash. There's nothing wrong with that. You're only out for a while, but everything else is perfect.
Nice.
You know.
And you like it, Naomi?
I love it. Absolutely love it. Especially my toilet.
Chris, now that you've done this van, is there anything you'd do differently if you started again?
No, I wouldn't do anything differently. The van is evolving as we use it, so I wouldn't change anything. No, I'd do exactly the same.
So it's basically, you never quite finish one of these projects?
No, because you don't finish, because you're always evolving. Because
Like the kitchen.
you'd always, like I say, I do want to replace the kitchen again, and the reason, there's nothing wrong with the kitchen because it works, but I'm thinking I can get more room if I come out to here. Just to gain that much more room inside. But apart from that, it's spacious and open, and I don't feel claustrophobic at all.
Would you recommend it to someone thinking about doing the same?
I would recommend anybody to buy an ex-ambulance, because you've still got all the stuff in here. You don't have to strip it out as much as we do. You can just leave it in and put your furniture in and just decorate it, because, like I say, the cupboards are going nowhere, the ceiling's going nowhere, all the lights are already in, so most of the electrics are all done. So I would suggest, yeah, definitely buy an ambulance than an empty van.
And for the fact that they're well maintained too?
Yeah. But the thing I found out now as well, from yourself, Rupert, is you're decommissioning them now. The biggest problem was when whoever decommissions them for the ambulance service is just cut wires here, there and everywhere. And the amount of wires that the auto electrician took out, you know, was stupid. They take the main side, the main lights off the back and the lights off the front. So they're not taking them off carefully, and we've loved it, just pulling them off. You know, and so all the fiberglass on the back and all that was damaged, and all that to be sorted because of leaks and that. If it would have been left to you just to decommission them, you could have just turned the lights off and just left the bars on there, and they'd have been fine. But they caused damage by taking them out, and it was just coming across wires that we didn't know what the wires were for, and they was just cut. So if it was decommissioned properly, like say you're doing it yourself now, that helps a lot. That helps a lot. If you know, we had CCTV in here, but all the wires were cut and everything, and he would have just took a mission to connect it all back up. But it would have been nice to have. You know, so if you're decommissioning now and you leave the CCTV in, that is a bonus.
Yeah, man.
It's a bonus.
All right then, Chris. Well, thanks very much for your kind words and advice there.
Thank you.
Cheers, Naomi.
And I would do it again.
What have we learned from Chris and Naomi? Well, we've learned that if you have very limited DIY skills, turning an ambulance into a camper van is very achievable. Yeah, £6,500 is what he spent. It's a lot more than what the average person spends that I speak to. Has he got some cool upgrades in there that are expensive? Yes. Swivel-based seats, they're like £500 a go. He's got some fancy electronics in there as well that not necessarily all people put in there. And I suppose the other thing is, you know, he went to town, he insulated the vehicle even more. And truthfully, you don't need to do that, but it certainly will benefit you in the long run. The great thing now is that we've got a product here that would have made Chris's life a hell of a lot easier. Just recapping about decommissioning, we get the vehicles in direct, so we get to decommission them properly. On Chris's van, it took us 2, maybe 3 days to sort out the electrics. What do I mean by sorting out the electrics? Well, when it went to auction, they basically removed modules, cut wires, and basically make it a little bit of a mystery for us on how to get stuff working in the back and get it working in such a way that when you're using it as a camper van, it's actually going to be usable. Now we get them in direct, we get to remove the emergency lights. You know, for example, when they go to auction, all these lights get taken off, and then they get sat in a car park for weeks on end. Condensation and water builds up, but now we make these covers that go straight over the top, and we also get the opportunity to remove the emergency lights and emergency functionality. And instead of spending our time figuring out how to get everything working again, we're able to spend our time taking out the unnecessary wiring, and instead of spending hundreds of pounds on labour doing the rewire, we're able to spend our hard-earned customers' money upgrading the electrics with lithium and solar panels and stuff like that. So essentially, our customers get a much better product. Now, the latest venture is Project Snowflake 2. And these vans are arguably even easier to convert. Straight walls, significantly more space due to the width. I mean, I believe the distance from there to there is around 6'8". Okay, it's massive. We're doing these bed kits, we're doing the electrics, we're taking stuff out, and you know, the product is a lot better. And you know, had Chris got one of these, he probably would have spent half the time doing the conversion and half of the money he probably spent on the van, because, for example, this twin skin aluminium with the kingspan in the middle isn't just on the walls and on the ceiling, it's also on the floor as well. He spent time getting an auto electrician to put sockets and stuff exactly where he needed it to be. That's something that we can do here at Base Van. Before you take your van away, look how cool these control panels are. Usually this stuff gets taken out. Also, Chris mentioned about he misses the fact that he didn't have the CCTV. All of these vans, we keep the CCTV in. We're actually making it so you can connect your phone to this and you'll be able to have a look what's going on in your van or outside your van when you're not there. A year ago, Chris and Naomi came here and they collected their empty ambulance. A year later, it's a way of life for them. The only thing stopping you from doing it is getting started.
Keep
Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings?
Game of Thrones.